My oldest daughter, she'll come over when I need her, but I try not to need too many of them now because I've always been doing stuff by myself, and that's the way I've always been. That's the way I was raised. I'm not scared to ask for no help. Now, don't think I'm scared to ask for help, because I'll ask you in a minute. Either you say yes or no. Hell, it don't matter, because I'm going to do it anyway. But if I really, really need the help, I'm going to ask. If I see where I could do it on my own, I'm going to do it on my own. And if I ask them, they helps. I got a good bunch of people.
I think the challenge that I had to drive a lot more. I had to do most of the driving because he couldn't drive for like a month, and then you had to sit in the back seat, and then you had to be real careful. And I have to do more, and sometimes I'll go to the store, I'll do this, I'll pick up that, I'll run the errands, and it seems like I was doing more and more, and it was okay. And I mean, I didn't mind it, but then I think sometimes, and there's certain, like, you can't lift a lot of things, and you have to get help, or sometimes you have to call repairmen now because he can't do these jobs. But that's part of the deal.
But then it comes to a thing like, well, you won't let me do this, you won't let me do that. Driving was a big thing. He was really happy when he got to drive again. He wants to be independent. So even though we felt we were sacrificing time and doing those showers and washing them, keeping them clean, and even feeding them sometimes, they resented that because they didn't want anybody doing it, brushing his teeth, shaving, combing his hair. He wanted to do all that himself, and there was a period of time he couldn't do it, and he was resentful. I would be too, probably. I mean, that's a totally normal thing, and so you go back to these verses that say, "Be patient and be persistent."
I guess during recovery, I had to be very patient.
Very strong.
I was the motivator, plus his granddaughter. The room he was in, that was his recovery room. He opened up his window and he would see a wall. And I was like, no, this is not a good recovery room. So I found another room where he could go eat and he could see the baseball stadium. He was able to play dominoes with people. So it gave him that motivation every day. I can go eat in this other room, and my wife could be with me, my brother could be with me. So I was constantly trying to find ways to get him motivated.
I think one of the doctors even told you there isn't a stupid question to ask whatever you want to ask.
Don't ever not ask a question because you're afraid that you're going to sound stupid or you don't know what you're trying to make. I don't want you ever to do that. But it's just the support. It's just amazing to me that I've known other people with other illnesses who had nothing to hang on to, and I thought, well, this is it. We're going to be just hung out there. But I can't say enough good things about them. I mean, I don't think the caregivers could ask for anything better. I've had to call them a couple times at 2 o'clock in the morning for an emergency, and he had to get the 911, EMTs out. They were fine. By the time we got downtown, he was ready to go into ER. They had everything was almost all ready. They had a room for him. And I mean, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I had to call Barbara or to have things done, and Verna's our new coordinator. Anything, and they follow up. Sometimes they send you home and you're like, what? They follow up and call and make sure you did this and have you changed your this. And it's the best I've ever seen. And you have to ask for help sometimes, and I think I didn't want to do that. I thought, well, we'll work something out, or I don't want to bother anybody to help me. But sometimes you have to bite the bullet and get help.
But you learn not to say stuff back that's hurtful because, I mean, one time he said to me, you don't know what this is like. You're as healthy as a horse. And I just thought, that's a nice thing to say. But he said, you'll live forever. You're as healthy as a horse. So I'm thinking, I really haven't walked in these shoes. I don't know what it would feel like to be in this situation. So I was in a Bible study group, and there's a lot of good verses that can pull you through things. A lot of good biblical verses about faith and patience and perseverance.
I've learned it's one day at a time now, and I never thought that way before. I was like, well, next week I'm going to do this, or next year we're going to do. It's like, okay, I got today, that's great, and here we go. Tomorrow, it's ahead. So, and you can do it. I mean, you just have to say, we can do this. And I think that's the bottom line.